I think the AORA coordinate and support work was absolutely vital to the success of what we've accomplished in the North Atlantic Research Alliance. Start with the Galway Agreement. People get around a table and decide that we're going to agree to work together. But working together means that you need to understand each other, you need a translator, even though by all means, we're largely speaking English together, but one word means something slightly different to another culture or another organization. And the AORA Coordinate and Support Group was absolutely on top of every one of our possible disconnects in order to make sure that we had a solid connection. They were able to convene meetings for us that would have been difficult. They were able to transport and move people throughout the EU community so that they could be part of the meetings that we were holding. We Canadians and we Americans were rather capable, proud to just sponsor our own folks, but what we didn't sponsor and what we benefited from greatly was the coordinate and support team. So I have to thank Margaret Ray, Peter Heffernan, so many of the people of the Irish Marine Institute who really turned to and gave us all they had to make the success. And I even asked one of my colleagues who's in the now fledgling or really arrived microbiome community, how did you deliver so much so fast? And very simply, the answer was, the team from the Coordinate and Support Unit just delivered for us. And it was staggering, it was exciting, and it was really a glue that really kept us together. On top of that, the like-mindedness that we have throughout each of the partners, our EU colleagues, our Canadian colleagues, our American science colleagues, we just realized this is the right thing to do, and when everyone's on board realizing that, it's very easy to do, and I think that's why we've come as far as we have with the North Atlantic Research Alliance and implementing the Galway Statement.
So with it coming to a happy end, and you've been very fervent in your assessment of how successful it's been, what about looking ahead? What's going to happen now?
Well, we continue. I think we realized during several of the discussions that we have at the leadership level between the three trilateral co-leads, myself, John Bell, Aaron McPherson, and Genevieve, we recognize what we could be doing better. One of them is timing, having our opportunities for the scientists of our national communities, having the timing of our calls for their engagement to coincide much better than it had. Simply because I think the EU was often running under Horizon 2020, and Canada and the United States, we had to catch up with that pattern and that pace. And we did. On the United States side, I have to thank our friends. I'm from NOAA, the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, but our friends from NSF, National Science Foundation, from NASA, they came in very willingly in order to help this succeed. So timing is key. We can work the timing. Then also, one of the things we discussed was we agree at the leadership level. We have brilliant collaboration of world experts working at the science level, the principal investigators, the scientists who do the work. We need to bring the program managers in alignment. Canadian program managers with American program managers with EU program managers, so that level of engagement, which turns on the projects, which allocates the resources, so that can be done in a greater level of coordination. To me, that's chapter 2, and that's where we go now. Plus, being all Atlantic in our outlook, which makes perfect sense, we wanted to get the first round correct. The first round was the North Atlantic. Now we move to the North Atlantic. We don't leave it behind. We move from the North Atlantic and include the South Atlantic. And I think, as you know, we, the United States, are very involved in the South Atlantic as well with the Parada Array, which is a very important weather and climate forecasting tool. We have the great gift of the talent from Brazil and from France in order to help that work, and even philanthropy that came from the Vulcan Foundation, that private philanthropy is helping us with some of the deep water ocean heat measurements in the Deep Argo Array. So it to me is a logical extension of what we've been doing in North Atlantic, South Atlantic. Lastly, I put the chapeau on this to say this is the model for ocean basin implementation of what has become the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development. Galway has been the model. We'll apply it to the South Atlantic. We'll take it wherever else it needs to be. Not that we're in charge of it, but because we can point to it as a successful reference and let the communities of other ocean basins pick it up and see how it's worked, and I'm sure it will work for them.